I'm Michael Orsi. I'm your host for Action for Life Television, that good news program which brings you the big G for the gospel of Jesus Christ, and little g, all the good things that people do to put that gospel of life into action. Ladies and gentlemen, over these past years, we've been having some tough times in our country, especially our police officers are finding themselves more and more in the line of danger. We've lost many police officers, death, many injuries, and many, unfortunately, they're just retiring. They just cannot take the abuse anymore. It seems like a tremendous loss of respect for those people who give their lives to keep the rest of us safe. As I told you many times in the past, can you imagine your husband going out to a job, or your wife going out to a job, or your son or your daughter, they leave the house, and really in the back of your mind is, will they return tonight? Will they return this morning? They work around the clock for our good, to keep our communities healthy, to give people a chance to make a living, to go to school, and yet our police officers today are disrespected. Sad. Well, I have a guest today who's really dedicated a good part of his life to help us to understand what a police officer goes through, those who are serving, those who are retired, and to keep the memory of those who gave their lives in the line of duty. So today we have Mike Randall of the Fallen Officers Association. Michael, my friend, welcome.
Thank you, Father Orsi, for having me.
Oh, it's pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you. And could you just tell us how you got involved? This is great work. Folks, this is great work. And I want you to pay attention to every word he says and to put it into action. Go ahead, my friend, tell him.
Well, I got involved when I met Rosemary Zor, my significant other, almost 10 years ago. Heard her story. That time I was working with the NFL as an NFL agent as well, and heard her story of how she lost her father, Robert L. Zor, on Christmas Day in 1983 when she was 7. Read all the articles, read everything that she went through. Then she opened up deeply with me and opened up her heart because we were in love. And hearing her story just broke my heart. And she always wanted to do something. And back in 2018, we had a very bad death of Adam Jobbers Miller, who was shot and killed.
Right.
In Fort Myers
yeah.
Police Department. And we were going to New York at that time, and we were checking back with the police department to see how he was doing and with the hospital. And we heard different conflicting reports he was going to make it. Unfortunately, he did succumb and passed away. And here's a guy that he became a police officer to take drugs off the streets because his brother overdosed with drugs. So he wanted to make a difference to stop the drugs, and he was killed by an illegal alien in the drug trade. At that time, we found out, Rosemary says, I'm ready to do something. So early that morning, I woke up and started drawing out the mission statement, the logos, and we put it in action. And our first event was the Adam Jobbers Miller Blue Bull Flag Football Tournament because people love football. Mm-hmm. So we try to have an event to remember their sacrifice, honor their families, to unite everyone to gain respect back for law enforcement. And that's how it all started.
Let's talk about what is going on out there. Look, we had great respect for the police.
Correct.
We would see a police officer and good afternoon, officer. Sometimes the police would help us even cross the streets when we were going to school. And thank you, officer. And our parents would instill in us, when you see a police officer, always be polite and be respectful to the police officer.
That's correct.
Okay. What has happened?
Well, I think the biggest thing that's happened is that the laws. We've gotten lenient on, parole. We've gotten lenient on bail reform. And it's so important today, when you go to the ballot, you have no idea some of these judges are even running of what they're about. And I tell everyone, you have to get involved. You have to know what these people stand for that are running for office to make it tougher, because the respect has gone away for these men and women of blue because of the laws. I mean, they're sending people home and sending them out of jail that for vicious crimes, giving them bail, getting them out on the street, and then they're killing cops. And it's just got to stop. And we have to have tougher laws, number one. And people need to really wake up. And like you said, I was brought up the same way. And one of our biggest statements to everyone, they ask us, how do we get involved? If you don't do anything, But if you at least, every time you see an officer, walk up to them and thank them or him or her for their service, it goes a long way because their morale is so low. And it really helps their morale hearing this from the people. We take them for granted. Like you said in the opening, these men and women go to work, kiss their wife, kiss their husband, kiss their kids, not knowing if they're coming home. Happened to Rose. Her father took a call, said, "Don't worry, honey, I'll be home for Christmas morning." He never came home. And when you look at some of these judges, you look at some of these politicians out there that think you don't need a gun as an officer to do a routine traffic accident. Well, we had 85 deaths last year alone with routine traffic accidents. But just keep in mind, remember how many people are taken off the streets with drugs, maybe have a warrant against them, a murder, an illegal alien that could have done damage to you or one of your family members by those police officers doing those routine traffic accidents or pulling you over for speeding have saved more lives than you will ever imagine.
Why would any politician in their right mind want to put dangerous people back on the street? Why?
You know, that's the $1 million question, and we cannot even answer that. One of the things that we're trying to do, working with Session here in Florida, and hopefully Governor DeSantis will sign the bill as soon as we get it passed, is the Robert Zohr bill. We want to make it a law here in Florida and hopefully nationwide. If you're running for any public office, senator, congressman, councilman, commissioner, you have to at least have 1 week ride along at different times of shifts with a police officer so you understand what those police officers go through on a daily basis. And I think it's very important before you start making laws, making rules, you understand where these men and women are going through, and we hope to get it a bill.
If I were a police officer and I get called, what do I do? I think I would say to myself, "Oh, the heck with this deal, let them just do it. It doesn't do me any good to arrest them."
Well, you're 100% right. The training has changed so much. And now officers, you're put in a position to make a split-second decision. It's either their life or yours. So a lot of these officers now are worried. Are they going to get in trouble? Are they going to be thrown in jail? Are they going to be fired? And we have great leadership here in Collier County with Sheriff Rambosk and Under Sheriff Colonel Jim Bloom.
Oh yeah, good guy, folks. If you're in Collier here, I'll tell you Rambosk and Jim Bloom, top of the line. Top of the line.
And there's where it starts. Yeah. And then Carmine Marcino and Lee County, they're tough on crime. They are not going to allow the crime to come in these two counties. And that's what we need. We need tough sheriffs, top leaders to direct their deputies and their family, that blue family, to do the right thing. Always do the right thing. And, you go back to your question, what is it? Where did respect go? Well, in any profession that you can talk about from A to Z, you're going to find that idiot. You're going to find that person that's not right, and you weed them out, you get them out of there. Right. But I know these men and women of law enforcement, they don't do it for the check. They don't do it. They're not going to be millionaires. They do it because they truly believe it's in their heart. They're God-loving people. They go out there and risk their life, and I'm telling you what I've seen since we started this foundation, I love them because they have a heart of gold.
They do. Folks, for full disclosure, I love these guys too. They are so kind and helpful. Whenever a situation that I thought I needed an officer there, whether or not, a person had a heart attack in church, or whether we needed somebody to help us to make sure the grounds of the parish were safe, no problem. The police, the sheriff's department was always there to help us. I'll tell you just a funny story. One day I was walking down the street. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning when I take my little walk, and I get up early in the morning. Somebody said to me, "Why do you get up early in the morning?" And I said, "Well, I say my prayers and I say the rosary as I'm walking down the street, and well, why so early?" Well, I told the person, I said, because God is not that busy yet. So I get to him before everybody else gets it. You see, that's my... Yeah.
I like it.
Now, listen, if you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I already have the slot with God, okay? All right, now, let me just tell you this. So it was real dark, and I'm walking, and a man pulls up his car, rolls down the window, and he says to me, "Be careful, there's an alligator out there on the street." Oh, look, folks, I despise alligators. I just don't like alligators, okay? I wouldn't mind alligator shoes or alligator wallet, but I don't want a big live, humongous alligator taking a bite out of me. Anyway, I hailed down a car. And I didn't realize it was a police car. And so he said, "What's the matter?" I said, "Look, there's an alligator out there. Could you drive me over to Starbucks?" He says, "Sure, hop in." And you see, these guys are great. They're really community service.
Absolutely.
Community service.
They have delivered babies.
Yeah.
They have done over the call of duty.
Yeah.
And, God bless them.
Yeah, they really are. So you see, people think, it's always, cops and robbers and shootouts. And no, it's community service, like Mike just said. Even delivering babies, taking old Father O to Starbucks for a cup of coffee. I even bought the cop a cup of coffee. We had coffee together. And that's why I got to know these guys. And that was really the beginning of the Blue Mass at St. Agnes, which we have every year for the police officers and for their families. Also fire, comm, and so to EMS. You might have seen a show about that. We did it, I guess, a month or so ago. I want to ask you some more questions, though. All right. Your organization, all right, what do you do for the families themselves?
Very good point. I mean, our biggest thing is to remember their sacrifices of our fallen, honor their families, and unite everyone. So when we have a fallen officer nationwide goes down, every one of those families receive a letter to the department with an unopened letter to the family with a blue line flag, letting them know that we're here for them, whatever they need. We get sometimes calls thanking us or sending us letters. We've helped out families that didn't have enough money to buy the marker for their loved one.
Really?
Yeah. And so, we take care of that. So whatever assistance we can give them, then we have scholarships that we put in place here in Collier County and Lee County, offering, there's 34 fallen officers of Collier and Lee County. So our goal, you mentioned it earlier, of getting people, because a lot of people are retiring. Now that thin blue lines is getting stretched thinner and thinner, and if it breaks, then we have anarchy. And
I think we're there in some places in this country, folks.
Correct.
We do have anarchy, and the police are really not supported at all. I've been reading that people, they just dump water on the cops.
Yeah.
They throw disgusting things at the cops. I mean, this is disgusting. But I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
It revolts me. The whole thing revolts me.
It makes us sick too.
Yeah.
And when we do different fundraisers, if a family wants us to help them, we'll go do an event, whether it be a concert, a Blue Bowl, or a fundraiser, and they receive that assistance to help them. We want them to know that we're always there for them, because this is what we hear from everyone. Never forget us. And a lot of times, Father, it's not always about a financial bearing. It's just being remembered. When we do our roll call at every one of our concerts or every event like this beautiful Blue Mass that you hold every year, we put out the fallen officers plaques where people walk in and can see these names, they can see these faces, that they've given the ultimate sacrifice. That goes a long way to the family as well. But we're always there if they need financial assistance. We're a small foundation, but we will help them to let them know we're never going to forget them, and we're always there to help them. That the scholarships is huge.
Tell us about the scholarship. How do you do
Well, we basically, anyone that wants to register to get a scholarship, let's say they have a family member that is active or a former SHIELD family member, uncle, any relative, they can apply for that scholarship and use it for anything that they're going to. Anyone outside that realm has to be going into some type of criminal justice, law enforcement, public safety, something that's given back to the community. And then we issue $1,000 scholarship in each of those fallen officers' names. And it's to remember, but to educate their legacy. So we're trying to do that with our fundraising. So that's something that's issued every single year to get new people. And it brings emphasis on law enforcement, because I've heard so many people say, my father don't want me to be a police officer. He's been a police officer and he's seen this thing. We need to change that. Now, one of our CCSO deputies, Gary Water, his son just got hired in at CCSO. I mean, what a great story. His dad's a police officer. Now he's a police officer. That's what we want to see. I mean, you've seen traditions, whether it be in New York and Boston and here. If your father or grandfather was a cop, your father was a cop, your son's a cop, we want to get back to that.
Yeah, it was like in the blood.
Yes, it was in the bloodline.
Yeah,
it's the blue line.
Yeah, we had police in our family, for like a million years, and you're always proud of somebody who became a sergeant, a captain. It was a great honor for the family. I'll tell you the truth, folks. I have a nephew up in New York City, and he became an officer, I guess, about maybe 5 years ago. And when my brother called me up, I said to him, "Oh, Peter," I said, "I don't know. I worry so much because these days they have no respect for the police and they're not supported by the politicians." One stinker in particular up in New York City, one big stinker who's out of office now. I'm not mentioning any names, but anyway, I was scared. I worry about him, and he's up in Manhattan North, and a lot of problems up there. And then, you say, maybe, he should do something else. But there's that sense of need to serve the community.
Correct.
Need to serve the community. As you can imagine, producing this wonderful program, Action for Life, it costs a great deal of money. We're going to need your help. So if you would like to donate to keep this good news program on the air, please go to your computer, your cell phone, actionforlife.net. Thought for the day. Our country is going through a tumultuous time. Many people are questioning the very foundations upon which this country has been built. One of the foundations that people are often forgetting is that this country was built on biblical principles, on justice and righteousness, and also upon charity. So much so that our founders had engraved on top of the rotunda of our Capitol in Washington the words of the prophet Micah. Remember, man, do what is right, love justice, and walk humbly with your God. We talked about, the scholarships, and it's wonderful, but you also mentioned the concerts. Yeah. So that's like a major fundraiser, right?
It is a major fundraiser for us, and the proceeds of that go to building a fallen officers, Collier County Fallen Officers Memorial.
Oh yeah, talk about it. This is really good because I saw some pictures. Yeah.
So we have a rendering that we paid to get done.
Tell us about it. Yeah.
So this is.
I think maybe Captain Video, if you could give it to him, he'll put it in. Yeah.
So our biggest thing is that when we look at everything, going back to her father, Robert L. Zor, Rosemary, our founder, was Rosemary Zor, we went over every first Thursday in May at Tropical Park in Miami-Dade. And I'm telling you what, Father, I've never been to one before in my life. I had goosebumps, was crying. It moved me of this memorial and seeing the memorial etched in names. And you of course see the police memorial in DC that we've been to many times, and those officers' names on there. And unfortunate, there will be more names added to this list, and we have to stop it, hopefully, with good people and stopping the violence against our police officers. But we decided, we contacted Sheriff Rambosk and Colonel Bloom, that we wanted to do this. But we wanted to let them know, and everyone here in Collier County know, no tax dollars. We're using the fundraising for these concerts to totally pay for this because out of respect, it needs done. We wanted a beautiful Sugden Park where it's surreal, serenity, where people come into that park, can see this, families can come, they can use it as Police Week, they can use it at different resources, but also it's educating kids. Mommy, Daddy, what does this mean?
What's it going to look like?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's three big granites, to honor, serve, and protect. We have the canine dog protecting it, have the flags up in the air. It's going to be beautiful, and I'll send you a picture of it as well.
That'd be great. Yeah. I even forgot to mention, these dogs.
The canines.
The canines. They're wonderful animals, just wonderful, beautiful, beautiful animals, and so loyal too. Boy, they do a job. I mean, they run after bad guys, and they put the jaws of justice right on them, and they're great help. So we're proud of our canine corps too. Now these concerts in the park, there's like a whole series of them, and I have been to a number of these concerts. But Big Mike, I want you to tell us, tell us about the groups that you have at the concert.
Well, our whole goal is to bring the legends of music, people that, whether it be in country or rock and roll, bring the legends of rock and roll, legends of concert, the number one tributes to this, to honor our true legends, Father Orsi, of our military, our veterans, our first responders, and of course our law enforcement officers. Those are our true legends. We just had the past Super Bowl, and people put more stake that those people on the field are heroes. They're not.
They're not. Come on, this is baloney. You're getting $1 million, to run around the field and bang into each other, and then who's sacrificing their life for what? They're on the field getting millions of dollars, and don't get me started. When you talk about football players and police, there's a big difference here, and the police are making peanuts compared to what these football players are making. Some of these football players are nice. I'm not saying they're not nice guys. I'm just saying, come on.
There's where we've lost our way.
Yeah.
We're putting more emphasis on celebrities that are heroes, or athletes that are heroes, and our true heroes are our teachers, our first responders, military, veterans, law enforcement, people that go out every day to make a difference, and we need to get back to that.
This term, hero, my gosh, everybody in creation these days is a hero. And not a hero. A hero is a guy like Big Mike said here, the guy that puts his life on the line for other people, Not somebody who decides they're going to be kneeling down, making some kind of a statement on the field. No. The person that's the hero is the guy that's willing to put his life on the line to sacrifice himself for other people or for a moral principle. And that's why the police are out there putting themselves on the line for us. And these police officers, these people are people who are giving an example to the community of what service is. And we should expect a lot from these people. We should expect a lot because they are, for us, role models and role models for our children. When people put down police officers, they're putting down themselves. And young people need heroes today, real heroes. Big Mike, tell us now, how many concerts do you have a year?
We usually have 7 a year. We were in our second season. We have March, April, May left for season 2, and we kick back up in November of season 3. And I encourage people to get tickets and come out. It's one of the most patriotic events you're ever going to be to.
Who are some of the big names that
we've had Billy Joel, the number one tribute to Billy Joel, Elton John. We had Elvis Presley.
I've seen him many times walking the streets of Naples.
Absolutely, haven't done that. We've had different country. We have the Eagles. We've had AC/DC. We have Queen. We have the Doobie Brothers. We have Chicago. So every concert's for somebody that maybe they don't like that group that month, but this group they do, and they want them to come out and really see. When you get there, we have 2 breaks. The first break is all about our military and veterans. The second break is, of course, our law enforcement. And we do the roll call. And I've had so many people, you brought up all these different states. We've had Minnesota, we've had New York, we have New Jersey. We've had people from California say, this is amazing. I feel appreciated, and I feel we need to do this in our state. And that's what you do. If you take one person can make a difference. If that person goes and does that and it multiplies, we can beat this. We can get back to where we want to be a part of and respect the right things.
Folks, we need to be put back in touch with good things and with good people. We love our police officers. We love our men and women in service. Another group of heroes that put their lives on the line for us. They never know when they're going to be called upon to serve here or in some godforsaken place, and yet they do it because they love to serve, and they love this great country of ours. Okay, tell us now about your plans for the future.
Well, our
You
plans
expand.
Oh yeah. I mean, we've had people contact us from different states that wants to be a chapter of us. So that's what we want to get. We want to have a chapter in every one of our states and really keep going, because, like you said, this country's amazing, and that flag, red, white, and blue, is for every American. And we need to come together and unite. And if we can keep doing this and building the right values and getting back to what is right, having affiliates in all these different states, I think is going to be great.
Okay, well, I am certainly going to do everything I can to help you guys out. That, like, I'm on your side.
I know you are.
Folks, I'm like on the side of the good guys. And he's one of the good guys. So what I want you folks to do is to, first of all, be supportive of the police. And Big Mike, when we had the Blue Mass, you gave out little coins, and boy, they went fast. And tell us about that little coin.
It's a token that we give, and we have them, and we try to give them to every police officer that we see. That day at the Blue Mass, we wanted everyone to have them, not only if they were law enforcement, but if they weren't. If they see an officer, they could go up and give them, because it has the St. Patrick on the back, St. Michael on the back, or St. Patrick, I'm sorry. And we want to basically keep them safe and thank them for their service. And Father, that's the biggest thing we have to tell people. You can make a difference with your words. By thanking them, showing appreciation goes a long way.
So let me ask you this. You give me the coin, and then I see an officer, and I say, "Officer, thanks for your service." I give him the coin.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
I mean, how do our folks get them? I mean,
yeah, they go to thefallenofficers.com, stop in our office, 4330 Tamiami Trail. If you're watching, come and say hello to Rosemary or myself, and we'll get you some. And we just want to get these out, and it's nice when an officer comes by and says, "Hey, I still have it," and they keep that because it's for protecting them, but also thanking them for what they do on their shift.
And in the meantime, I want to thank all of you for being with us today. Big Mike's for action, I'm for action, and I hope you are too. We would like to thank our generous sponsors for their wonderful support. Thanks for watching. Please join us next time for Action for Life. I'm for action, and I hope you are too. I'm Father Michael Orsi. I am your host for Action for Life Television, that good news program which talks about the gospel of Jesus Christ, the big G, and the little g, all the good things that people are doing to put the gospel of life into action. So please join us for the next episode of Action for Life.